Anikulapo. I did not see that coming, actually. I did enjoy the previous part. In fact, I gushed about part one. But, I didn't really expect much from season two. Look at it to me. When I saw the stories that, okay, Kunle Afonaya has decided to, expand on the universe and, do another part, I can't say I was excited. I'm like, okay, what is this about? Because you did it one time, you think you can do it again. And I see that all the time. We don't usually have a good sequel culture. Merry Men happened to be the most bearable part of the entire Merry Men trilogy.
I love
It kept getting progressively worse.
Yeah.
It didn't get any better.
So for Anikulapo, I did not. I could not even finish the first part.
Okay.
I went really far, but like there was so much bothering me. It was changing. It was game changing. I could see the very obvious changes sets. There was when I first saw like actual thoughts put into set design. But then so many other issues. But then for the season 2, I was made to watch it because I didn't expect myself to watch it. I was like, what was the point? Why are you? I'm already used to part 1, part 2 disappointing. So now season 2, I was made to watch it. I watched the first episode.
Slow down, don't get into it. How about you? Did you see the first part of it?
Yeah, I saw the first part. It was really giving Tyler Perry, the classic light-skinned guy.
It's giving Tyler Perry.
Duping the girl that was, the successful woman. Honestly, she could have done so much better on her own.
Okay.
Oh, there
So
was
it
a
was really
conversation
disappointing.
though. What he did, the frolicking and then leaving her to be with someone else and how he lost it all. I remember the conversation was insane around that time. Everybody was arguing and
Yeah.
I mean, I know it doesn't always work like that, but I feel like whenever a movie can give you something to talk about after you've watched it, I think that is a good sign. So did you enjoy part 1?
I enjoyed it, and I learned a lot of lessons. Beware of light-skinned men.
I don't even know how this ties in.
where it came from.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Anikulapo, Rise of the Spectre. Apparently, Kunle Afonaya decided to expand on the universe. And of course, when he first set out to make the movie, when I read the interviews, he talked about how he was looking to give Nigeria their very own Game of Thrones. And I thought it was full of shit until I saw Rise of the Spectre. I wouldn't even give him all the accolades I want to give him today for the part 1. It was great, but I think I had issues with the pacing. At first, it was steady. Then I think at some point they wrapped it up real quick. Apparently, if you give this man 6 episodes, he knows exactly what to do with it. But let me not jump ahead, okay? This is what we're talking about today, The Rise of the Spectre. Apparently, it just came out earlier in the year, and a lot of people seem to like it, and a lot of people didn't. And if you ask me, those who didn't like it don't know good films. I said what I said.
That is strong.
That's how I even knew it was going to be good. Someone that, I don't usually take recommendations from said, oh, it was crap. I'm like, nah, I got to watch that. If this person doesn't like it, then it has to be good.
It has to be good.
Definitely.
But then that speaks a lot of volume into what it is, because I'm very critical about how I enjoy, because I don't mess with anything 2010s after.
Yeah, I feel you. Classics all the way.
But then the fact that I could watch the thing without even watching the part 1 and still enjoyed it, and I understood everything that was going on, made it beautiful. He did too good. 6 episodes and told the story straight.
All right, so I think everyone is waiting for us to just dissect the topic already. So let's chew the fat on the subject. We have several categories. You all have 1 star each to allocate for each category, okay? If you've watched the reviews I do on Instagram, we reviewed films, and it was mostly like a voiceover against the trailer of the film. But this time I want to talk about it a little bit more in depth. But the parameters remain. Did it have a great cast? Did it have a great plot? Did I enjoy it? Was it actually good? And will I watch it again? Those are usually the parameters I use to qualify a movie, because I feel like even if technically the movie had its pitfalls, the fact that you enjoyed it is good enough. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because not everyone watches a film with all the technical jargon in mind. Some people don't care about cinematography. It's a thing. Some people don't care about quality acting. Is it good entertainment? Yes, and I'm happy with it. So I want to also bring in that subjectivity to our metrics. So we have the cast, the plot, and your personal enjoyment, whether you thought it was good, and whether or not you're going to watch it again. So each of these parameters have 1 star. We're going to give it 1 star. We're going to come to 5 stars in the end. So what we agree on will become the aggregate for Anikulapo, Rise of the Spectre in this particular review. So let's begin with the cast. Did it have a great cast?
1 star.
They take the
So
full star.
You get the full star because you can either give it no star, half star, or 1 full star. So you believe the cast gets 1 star.
The acting was good.
Why do you think it gets a star?
Here's my thing, right? In Nollywood, most of the time, there's always this whole cash grab thing where they get their cast and their crew and their influencers really to target their hundreds of thousands of followers. But it just really felt like there was some sort of artistic integrity with it, in the sense that every single person, you know, in the cast earned their place there, including Kunle Afolayo's daughter, which everybody was really skeptical about. But for some reason, she actually showed up. And I just really think that it speaks to, I think a lot of times with Nollywood movies, there's this whole thing where it's just a reel of skits.
Couple of
skit upon
skits
skit.
stitched
So when you
together.
see your favorite influencer, like there was one particular movie my friend and I went to see when I was still serving in Oshobo, right? And at that point in time, they did this movie, promoted it really huge, and people were paying 5,000 naira to get in, only to realize that it was just 2 hours of dry jokes. Anyways, I was really happy to see that he was able to handpick each and every person. Everybody suited the role. And we could see like veteran actors on the floor playing chiefs. So I just really love that.
The cast members. Why do you give it a star for the cast?
So I'm really critical. I told you I don't respect anything 2010 after usually, but I watched it and everyone seemed to know what they were doing. The stars, everyone, they kept whatever ego they have, and then they actually played their parts. You could feel the emotion. You could tell that they were trying to carry along with the story. They played their parts. They made it believable, which is a problem for a lot of Nigerian movies. They don't. It's not believable. You don't believe that this person is whoever they are playing. They're just speaking words that were given to them.
On that note, I've always said it. I think I made a point when we watched the movie together. I feel, and I'm very serious about this, that Nigerians act better when they speak their own indigenous language. Yes. Yoruba actors play Yoruba movies fantastically. Hausa actors play their roles fantastically. Even in Igbo epic movies.
Yeah.
You can hardly fault the acting of Sami Loko when he's doing his thing.
Yes.
Do you notice that we don't always subject some of these films to any criticisms because we say, no, Nigerian film, because they're in their element. And agreeing with what you said, every actor in Anikulapo seemed like they were exactly where they needed to be. And they did exactly what they needed to do. So I honestly believe that Nigerians act better in their native tongue. Because you see some English-speaking movies and then you're hearing someone
Fake
talk. I'm like,
accents.
no one talks like that. What is wrong with
Like
you?
who talks like that?
No
Who
one
talks
sounds like that in any context.
And
No
the
one speaks
accents
like
are
that.
No one
always
says
like,
necessary.
The construction, the scriptwriter should be flogged too, because the construction of words, like how many people in their homes actually say dad or my or mom?
You know?
it's not believable.
It sounded
and plus
good to
the
you.
it's overly theatrical, like too much action. Like I can't believe that you are this person. You need to be able to like seep into the role. And that's what I really, really loved about series like The Bear, because you could actually believe that these are the lives that these people are living. I can't believe that, you are this person because of the overacting.
I think I have noticed that a lot of times you don't have actors just playing the roles with their faces alone. There's always dialogue to explain everything, every emotion. When some scenes could just be fine when you just look. A stare could connect.
portray
I saw this
everything.
movie, Vertigo, Alfred Hitchcock. I think it's in the 60s or 50s movie. And then there was a weird, awkward scene between, I think the lady, she came home. I think she was unconscious or she was drunk or something. So he had to get out of her clothes, And then she woke up in the morning and then they were having a conversation. And then it got to the point when she looked at the fact that she wasn't wearing any clothes and she looked at him. They didn't say a word. She just realized that she had been changed.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to say it.
Yeah, how did I get there?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we see a lot of subtext like that in, foreign films, but when we come down here, there's a dialogue for everything. How about just feeling? So we haven't really gotten to that point when it comes to our acting. So like you said, everyone seemed like they were right where they needed to be.
And they were not over animated, because that's
Yeah.
another issue.
Really?
They usually over animate.
More often than not, Yoruba films are known for their over
But the thing is, it's
animation.
natural.
Yeah.
It's
but then when-
natural. Yoruba people overreact naturally.
Okay.
So you'd expect that.
Yeah, you'd expect that.
For
Definitely.
one, Lagos Sugar Boy is
But you know the thing is, as long
dancing
as
up
you
and
look
down.
the part, as
You
long
just
as
threw shit
look
at
the part-
Timini. You didn't hear what he
No
said.
way.
He's the biggest actor in Nigeria.
I was seeing his left.
Let's not do that.
How dare you shade
Put some
Timini?
respect on his name.
You should calm
let's just
down,
leave
but
that.
but you get my points.
Yeah.
So I gotta agree with you guys. I give it a star as well, ladies and gentlemen. This is like a unanimous star for all of us when it comes to the cast of Anikulapo, Rise of the Spectre. I feel like everybody showed up and showed out. They did what they were there to do, and I like how in the ending of the film we got a joke from Lai. You know that last
Yes.
joke that came.
Can I say?
Yeah, say it.
I really love how they did not make the entire story revolve around Lai. Like I mentioned before, a lot of times Nigerian movies, they want to like churn all of those followers, millions of followers. They're, that's like thousands of naira on tickets, right? So it's a marketing strategy in itself. And I love that there was so much integrity in the sense that every actor knew their place and they played it, they respected the role. So it's like Broadway, right? If they put you on stage to play a tree, you have to play the tree.
True.
Do you get? So I really love the fact that it did not feel like there was an aura of ego around each of those roles. It felt like they respected it, they took it as their own. So that's something that is very commendable.
Definitely. So yeah, we all give a star to the cast. Now let's quickly move on. Oh, slow down. We're about to move on. I didn't gush. Talking about the cast real quick, there was one character that stood out for me. Heads. Abi shoulders.
My rich baby daddy.
Abi legs. He stood out
On
from
three.
everybody.
On three. If you say something different,
Okay.
we'll fight.
All right, now. So
One.
3. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Basharu.
Basharu.
Basharu, my rich baby daddy.
Can we just give 1 minute silence for that interpretation?
Oh,
Performance and everything.
yo, I can't see him as anything else. I saw a
And he's a
Netflix
fine man
thing.
too.
And he's a very fine man.
Basharu is the closest thing we've got to Tywin Lannister in Nollywood cinema. And when I say Tywin, I don't just mean the character. Tywin in Game of Thrones was, a stellar character by all means. And now we saw a man bring that same gravitas, that same...
He had that presence.
he's
Yo.
threatening you, and he knew when to cue a smile. For you to understand how psychotic this man is, you will later use your wealth to beg me. And then he dropped a smile there. I usually think it's incredible acting when an actor who's supposed to be evil and menacing knows how to tweak it up a bit. Why do you think the Joker is psychotic? Because he laughs when he commits crime. Even this character in this movie that we recently saw in December, the highest grossing film right now, Funke Akindele's Tribe of Judah.
Oh, yeah.
There was a character, I think the villain, the Igbo guy, who was always using like the slurred R and the slurred L to show how Igbo he is. He kept on saying the darnest things with a smile on his face. And even though the entire movie was not, the best when it came to the acting, because of his interpretation of the role, I could respect that. So coming back to Basharu, I don't think we've gotten a more compelling character played in Nollywood cinema. And it's not alone. He and Awarun, that's Shola Shibowale.
Yo, the chemistry. You know the thing about Basharu, it was so evil, but I was rooting for him.
I
wanted
wanted
him
him
to
Burn
to
that
win.
village down. Burn everybody down. I was rooting for him, honestly.
And that's how you know a character was well written.
Yeah.
When you start rooting for the villain,
to win.
that is
Yo.
when you know.
Every time they were speaking about him in the palace and he was not there, I wanted to see that man there, to see their
Yeah.
faces.
Can you speak like this
Can
when
you
he's
say
here?
this in front of
You know?
him?
So big ups to him. And of course, in case you don't know this, Hubert Ogunde, one of the pioneers of cinema or theater in Nigeria, he is actually the son of Hubert Ogunde. I think his name is Owobo Ogunde. And I've done a documentary on Nollywood before, so I know the immense contribution Hubert Ogunde and his film or his theater ensemble, the amount of contribution they made to Nigerian cinema. So I was in a way satisfied knowing that he's the son of such a great man. No wonder. No
what he was
wonder.
An apple never falls too far
Never
from the
falls
tree.
far from the tree. I gotta give him his flowers. That's easily one of my favorite characters I've ever had in any Nollywood film
Yo.
anywhere. Basharu gets his flowers. I want to give him a round of applause,
Yeah.
man.
And Awaru was also a bad bitch.
You know, I hope you can see this because I would have said a lot more in my head. I really said a lot more about his character, but for the sake of this, podcast, let me just let it be. But I'm feeling
Love
that guy.
him. Great guy.
Feeling that guy. So yeah, the cast gets a 1-star, stellar cast, great stuff. Now, do they have a great plot?
Now with the plot, I'll give it a half star.
Okay, why?
So as much as I enjoyed it, there was just it took too long for me to understand.
What was going on?
What
You
was
you
going
haven't
on?
seen part 1, so I don't think we should take your point
my
here.
point, yeah.
Because you haven't seen part one. But then again,
Yeah.
I guess maybe as a observer, but would it really make sense, to be honest, if you haven't seen part one?
But the way the story was told seemed to be cut out away from part one.
Not necessarily. A lot of things picked up from where part one left off. But I guess objectively speaking, what was your issue with the plot?
Mostly was surrounding what seemed to be lapses in time.
Okay.
From when he got resurrected to the point where he was at the village. Maybe I understood it later on, but the point where he got to the village and then he had a kid. Like how much time? I knew it was 3 years,
3
and
years.
then it now seemed like everything else that was happening in the village was happening a lot faster than what was happening on his own side.
Okay.
The war with these guys' people and everything else that was happening then seemed like happened within space of months.
Okay.
While
Everything else was.
on the
Yeah.
other side
Okay.
was just slow and
So the timing was spotty.
yeah.
Okay.
I wish they carried there was a way they carried everything
But
concurrently.
then again, you haven't seen part one, so your opinion is.
so yeah.
Yeah. I've seen part one, so I can
Okay.
say I have some reservations about the plot.
Okay, what are
Right,
those?
it was a good plot. We loved our bad bitches. However, I feel like there were some problems as far as the whole Grim Reaper thing was, concerned.
Okay.
For instance, now we saw Saru resurrect or reclaim the lives of 3 people. And there were 20 people. What about the remaining 17? When he met that old woman and the woman gave him a chance to become Akudaya, that's what we called it in Yoruba. That's like someone that is a reincarnated being, right? So when the woman gave him a chance to become Akudaya, right, to come back to life, he did not go back to go get the other 17 lives. So does that mean that he's always going to he's going to continue wandering for the rest of eternity?
I don't know.
Because I didn't see him on the queue.
Me,
There
I
was
think
that
he
too.
continued what he was supposed to do when he had unraveled his issues with the people in the land of the living.
Ooh.
I think, because we didn't really see what happened with Saru
only
afterwards.
assume. We can only
You
assume.
can only assume. So I do understand that. So
Maybe
I feel,
they left it up to our imagination.
Yes. So,
I just assumed he finally went through the lights because he was speaking to what's the
Yeah.
name of the girl?
Arolake.
Yeah. Through
yeah,
dreams.
through dreams. So something
So-
tells
so
me
I
at
think
the
he
end
had
he
already
went to
gone.
do everything he needed
But then
to.
He had
again,
already
they are
settled.
star-crossed lovers. Do you get a lot? Some people are like twin flames. Like no matter what, they are going to meet each other.
Okay.
Do you get? And so some of them can communicate through like very spiritual means. I also like the fact that with the plot, it seemed far-fetched, but it did not seem overly far-fetched.
Okay.
Because we've had tales of Wakudaya, we've had tales of people that die, resurrect and go and live in a completely different place, have families, have children. And until when they encounter someone that knew them from their past life, that's when they poof, they are gone again. So I really like that. But however, some of the... Also, it was very delayed. Sometimes I felt like it was really slow, but I get the idea. I get the fact that they wanted us to understand something deeper and they wanted to establish little subplots to tie the entire thing together. So it was a lot of weaving, to be honest.
Yeah. So was that like a half or a 1 star?
Because I like Basharon one.
You're gonna give the entire plot a star because
It's
you like
hanging
Basharu.
on you, Bashor.
Well, it's safe to say Basharu carried the series, to be honest, because I don't think we're the only ones who saw
I really
him.
like
Who saw
Awarun
him?
too.
Awarun, definitely.
Awarun,
But I think
she
Shola is not
brought
your
it.
mate.
She
Shola
brought it.
Shabawale is not anybody's mate.
not
I
anybody's
think
mate.
we know for a fact that she's a great actress. I think the scene that caught my attention the most was when, I know mothers do it all the time. Maybe I'm the one just overinflating the importance of the scene. But I like how when Basharu threatened her daughter, she held her breast. Meaning like the child that suckled for... She didn't say this. She was still returning the threats, but there's a way it happened involuntarily. He threatened to kill her family and she was
Felt
like,
so real.
I felt the pain of a mother. And I don't think we give Shola Shabawale her flowers.
Yeah.
Man.
I also love the chemistry between Awarun and Basharu. Because it's very, very interesting to see how Basharu, a respected man, rich man, he can have anyone he wants, but why is he so fascinated
By this
by
independent
this woman?
woman
And
at
it
the edge
just
of the
goes
city.
back. It goes back to what Trevor Noah was talking about, the exotic bird inside the cage. And I feel like Awarun is an exotic bird, and Basharun is a man of war, and he wants to put her inside the cage. He just wants to
So it's a conquest
Yeah.
for him.
It's a conquest for him.
Lovely stuff. So, I mean, I don't think I'm the best person to give gradings on plots because when I enjoy something, I forget that the plot doesn't make any sense. You know? Because to me, movies are very, when I'm watching a film, it's supposed to take me away from my own natural existence. So, to be honest, I didn't even notice the plot had problems. You know what I mean? I'm being honest here. It's not supposed to be because, I mean, we're reviewing the film, but there was something wrong with
It
the
is
I
plot.
started nitpicking after, because after that I was like 2 plus 2. Like,
I think the only thing I didn't like was the fact that how does a spirit exhume his own body? Because remember the instructions that she gave him, the old woman that gave him, he went to go take her soul when he was in his Grim Reaper era, his Grim Reaper phase. She said he needed to go exhume his own body so he could enter it again and all that jazz. So I'm going to give the plot I'm going to give it a 1 star. I'm sorry. It gets my complete star there. Because I would have to flaw it for me to reduce from the stars. I don't have those flaws. A loophole does not make a bad plot. And how can you make a film where the 2 main characters don't meet until the end and it still makes sense?
yeah.
Saru and Arolake did not really come in contact with each other until some mistake that happened when they were in a prison cell at the end. But did you feel like you lacked them?
No.
I mean,
That's why I
you
said.
know-
That's why I said. I had only seen parts of part 1. I
Yeah.
did not finish it.
Trust me, the
but
whole
I
of-
understood
Okay.
everything that was going on in part 2.
I guess like we got to see them as, you know, initially we saw them as very stupid kids, but now we just saw them as like
they grew.
they grew, like the character development, like, oh God, you guys were just like young fools and you made a mistake and you squandered everything. Not necessarily like people actually thought that Saru was such a villain, and we could just see that he was just a young boy and pride just got to his head. So it was really nice.
He was
see
just
that.
trying to have it.
I'm
was
getting,
just
I'm
trying
getting
to have a
to
good
enjoy, to
time.
have a good
Like-
time. That's all.
I'm getting goosebumps right now. And also, that's part of how you know a character was well written. When they have an arc, usually there's a cause, there's motivation, and there's redemption. We went through the motions. We saw these characters at their worst, and then we followed them to their best when they became more than they were. So to me, all of that can just be, you can't overlook that. That is good writing.
I felt so sorry for Saru.
You know, I felt bad for him.
It's like a hero's journey.
A hero's journey. And, you know, and in the end, he got the dividend of all his mistakes. He didn't just go with a pat on the wrist. He died. Okay?
He had to pay.
You fuck around, you find out. And Saru found out. And that is how you write a story.
But I like that he enjoyed it little. He got a little
enjoyed
what
a
he
little.
wanted.
And look
Yeah,
at
he
this.
enjoyed it a lot. He enjoyed.
I mean, what's her name again? I think La Torera. The
La Torera.
sweetest chick in the village was his. And I mean, this guy kept on getting freebies from God. Like,
And he
how
was
do you
w-
Even
squander
the fact that
such
they sent him
providence?
back in the first place.
A film definitely has to make you feel something. You know what I mean? And I think, like y'all have said, we did feel all sorts of feelings. So yes, I'm giving my full star. It was actually good. And in fact, I want to go as far as saying this. Anikulapo is Nigeria's greatest cinematic effort since Shawaride of 1999.
I could see that.
The
I could
Fly
see
was
that,
a paid
but
actor.
I don't agree with you completely, but I could see
The
that.
Sweat was
you
a
know what's
paid
even
actor.
funny? You know what's even funny? Kunle Afolanya, who directed Anikulapo, was in Shawaride, directed by Tunde Kelani. He was also in Shawaride.
Nollywood is also like the second biggest industry, like after Hollywood, and a lot of times
after Bollywood.
no,
Yeah, I
it's-
think the list tends to
after-
change. I think at some point
it
we
tends
had
to
a.
change. We're number 2 right now. I think we're number 2.
It's just between the three, Nolly, Holly, and Bolly.
So my thing is this: a lot of times people think that we're number 2 because of the quality, but I feel like it's quantity.
It's just output.
It's
It's
the fact
just
that there are-
output. It's quantity.
And I think
And
that
more- and
there
a lot
should
of
be
people
like
watch it.
small gatekeeping. Do you get like I want to watch your skits on YouTube. Because that day when I went to go and see this movie, I'm not going to mention the name.
Say the name. Drag them by their.
I
by
should
the,
drag them.
Drag them by their
Oh my
belt.
God. I think
Yes.
it was
Which one?
What?
Mr. Macaroni and this person, Shaggy or
Brother Shaggy.
Brother Shaggy. And I went to see the movie and it was just like, why? This person has died. This person was kidnapped. This person fought. I don't even understand. Like,
What film was that?
I don't know the name of the film. Like, that was how terrible it was. I did not even want to know the name. I just wanted to get
Well,
out.
you know what's interesting? When he first said comedians in like skits, the first thing I thought was Mr. Macaroni and Brother Shaggy. in the
Yo.
movie.
Why is he in always?
But I feel
Why
like
is he
they
in
can
every
be
film?
bet-
He always has cameos in movies.
Probably a great guy to just have around.
It was just too much. It was just too much. Like, skit upon skit. Like,
Macaroni
when will
was
this
even in
end?
Anikulapo Part 1, no? Remember? Macaroni was actually in Anikulapo
And the
Part 1.
thing is that
as
he's
well.
actually a very tasteful actor.
Okay.
I feel like I feel like he has artistic integrity to an extent, but I feel like some of these other projects, they're just trying to appeal to their audiences and just make
So he gets on it for the wrong reasons, perhaps.
Yeah,
Maybe
for the
thinking
wrong
his
reasons.
cameo might just maybe increase viewership. or
Yeah, I
something
think
like
he's
that.
a really brilliant man. I don't like what he's doing. Stop.
I don't know. To me, an actor is defined by his choices when it comes to
Hmm.
films, which is why Will Smith lost my love after starring in Suicide Squad.
Leave my
Suicide
man's
Squad has to
name
be the worst
out
thing I've
your
seen.
mouth.
Look at you.
Okay.
I think so far, Anikulapo has maintained a star for every category. Now let's know the final point. Will I watch it again? Not every film can achieve a rewatch value, but I strongly feel like it's an important metric for every film. How good is your film? That will people watch it again in several years to come? Does it have any replay value at all? So that is our final metric today on this review for Anikulapo Rise of the Spectre. Will you watch it again?
I would give it half.
I'll give it a half.
Because it's only
Because
probability.
I see myself watching it one more time. But after that, I won't be
I see
able to take
myself
it.
watching it with my children, which is like in how many decades time. So
But right now, you're not compelled to go and
right
see
now,
it again.
I've done 6 episodes. Please and
You
thank
can
you.
rest. I see myself seeing it one more time, but that's all. I'll check out after that.
You know what? For Bashan Room, I will watch it again.
Wow.
Like, I can't even lie. I'm going to give it half there because, to be honest, that was quite a journey.
It was a journey.
But then again, maybe because of the run time, I think 6 episodes is a lot for me to consume again.
If I'm going to watch it again, it will be like in a couple years. Not
Okay.
this year again. No.
So you're going to give it half then?
Half.
Because it's good enough to watch again, but just not now. Please, let
Just
me
not
rest.
now. Let me
I might
rest.
see it this year.
I would like to watch something that is like very light.
Okay. So I guess for the right reasons, we're going to give it a half star.
Really.
I might see it soon.
Okay.
A few
Again.
months, yes. Maybe September.
Wow.
Why September?
It just seems like that
Yes,
kind of month.
dedication.
All right, ladies and germs, so far so good. I think on my table, Anikulapo got 4.5 stars. I think on yours, 4.5 stars as well. Is there a consensus?
4.5.
4.5.
Yeah.
Ladies and germs, Anikulapo, what a good movie.
Oh yeah, my people. If I never see this one, I'm gonna go see him now. Anikulapo, very better movie, original sound score, original set, everything they were. We they give him 4.5 for movie moments with Velvet. Go watch him now.